Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. I'm Kerry. Today I'll be showing you how to crochet this tiger, which was another request I received. I've embroidered on the markings because to type up a pattern with crocheted markings would have been a really long pattern, and I also would have got my cottons tangled when I did the video, so I've decided just to embroider them on. When crocheted using 8-ply yarn and a 3mm hook, this large one, the size is 23 centimetres wide by 10.5 centimetres or 9 inches wide by 4 inches. The medium tiger crocheted using 4-ply crochet cotton and a 1.5mm hook is 16.5 centimetres wide by 8 centimetres or 6.5 inches wide by 3 inches. The small tiger, crocheted using 2-ply crochet cotton and a 1mm hook, is 13 centimetres wide by 5 centimetres or 5 inches wide by 2 inches. I'll be using Catona cotton, so the size will be a bit smaller than the large one. I'll tell you the size at the end of the video. I'll be using Catona cotton. I've got 189 Royal Orange, 105 Bridal White, 110 Black, 393 Charcoal. I'll be using a 2.5mm crochet hook. I've got scissors, a black bead for the eye, a darning needle to weave in the ends, and sewing thread and a needle to stitch it together. The cream and the black and the dark grey are for the markings. Now we're starting on the mouth and then the nose part, and we'll work through the head and then the rest of the body with these two legs. Now I'm starting with my 110, the black, and we start with 2 chain. I work the first one quite loose, and I'm going to work a single crochet into this first chain. A single crochet is a double crochet using UK terms. For a single crochet we put the hook into the stitch, bring through a loop, put the yarn around the hook and take the hook with this yarn at the end through both loops, and then we can pull that stitch tight. Now I'm going to pull out this loop, the loop on my hook, because I'm going to join that in a minute to the nose part. So I'm just going to set this aside with the loop out a little bit. Now I'm going to work my nose. So I've got my 393, the charcoal, and we start with 3 chain. We work 1 single crochet in the second chain from the hook and 2 single crochet into the last chain. Now we're going to join the mouth on. So I slip the loop of the mouth onto my hook, so I've got the charcoal loop first and then the black loop, and then I'm going to join them together with a slip stitch. So I just put a loop over my hook of charcoal and bring it through the 2 loops. Now we can cut off the black but leave the charcoal joined. Now we're going to join in the 105, the Bridal White. So I'm just going to put a loop over my hook and bring a loop through the loop of charcoal and just pull it tight. We work 1 chain with the Bridal White and turn. Now we're going to work over our charcoal So we're going to work with our bridal white 2 single crochet in our first stitch and just work over your charcoal. So 2 single crochet into the first stitch, I'm going to finish the second of the 2 single crochet with my charcoal. It just makes it look better. So I bring the loop of the yarn of bridal white to this side, the front, because that's our wrong side, and then I finish the stitch with the charcoal. It just looks better that way. I'm going to leave the bridal white there where it is, and with my charcoal I'm going to work 1 single crochet in each of the last 2 stitches. For row 2 we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet in the first stitch with the charcoal, but we're not going to finish the stitch, so just bring up a loop and we're going to fasten that off in a minute, but I'll finish the stitch with my bridal white. So just put a loop over your hook and bring it through, and then you can cut off the charcoal. Then work 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. And then 2 single crochet in the end of the mouth. So just in here we need 2 single crochet. For row 3 we start with 2 chain. We're going to work 1 single crochet in the second chain from the hook, so just in here, and then spin the work around and work 1 single crochet in each of the last 6 stitches. Now we're going to join in the royal orange, the 189, so just put a loop on the hook and bring it through and pull it tight, and we fasten off the bridal white. We start with 2 chain and we turn. We're going to work 2 half double crochet into the first stitch. A half double crochet is a half treble using UK terms. For a half double crochet we put the yarn around the hook, hook into the stitch and bring up a loop, and then yarn around the hook and take the hook with the yarn at the end through all the loops. So we need 1 more half double crochet in that stitch, and then 1 half double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, and then 1 single crochet into each of the last 4 stitches. For row 5 we start with 1 chain and turn. We work one single crochet into each of the first 4 stitches, and one half double crochet into each of the last 4 stitches. For row 6, we start with 2 chain and turn. We're going to work a joined half double crochet over the first 2 stitches. We put our yarn around the hook, hook into the first stitch and bring up a loop, then yarn around the hook and hook into the next stitch and bring up a loop. We've got lots of loops on the hook. We put the yarn around the hook and take our hook with the yarn at the end through all the loops. Then we work one half double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. And then one single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. And we work 2 single crochet into our last stitch. For row 7, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 2 single crochet into the first stitch, 1 single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches, one half double crochet into each of the following 2 stitches, and a joined half double crochet over the last 2 stitches. For row 8, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet into each stitch to the last stitch. We'll work 2 single crochet in the last stitch and we'll have 9 stitches. So work 1 single crochet into each of the first 7 stitches. And 2 single crochet into the last stitch. For row 9, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 2 single crochet into the first stitch, and then 1 single crochet in each stitch to the last stitch. And work 1 half double crochet into the last stitch. For row 10, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet into each of the first 9 stitches. We have one stitch left. We work one single crochet and one half double crochet in the last stitch. For row 11 we start with 2 chain and turn. We work one half double crochet and one single crochet into the first stitch. Then work one single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. And then one half double crochet into each of the last 6 stitches. For row 12 we start with 2 chain and turn. We work a joined half double crochet over the first 2 stitches. Then one half double crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. And then one single crochet into each stitch to the last stitch. And work 2 single crochet into the last stitch. And then work 6 chain. That's for down this first leg part. For row 13 we miss the first chain and work 1 single crochet in each remaining chain. That will be 5. And then spin the work around and work 1 single crochet in each stitch to the end. We'll have 17 stitches including the 5 on the chain. For row 14 we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet into each stitch to the last stitch. We'll work 2 single crochet in the last stitch and we'll have 18 stitches. So 1 single crochet in each of the first 16 stitches. and work 2 single crochet into the last stitch, and then work 4 chain. That's for the foot. When tigers are running, they seem to bend the foot that's up in the air a bit back, so that's why it's bending back. For row 15, we work 1 single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and then 1 half double crochet into each of the last 2 chain, and then just spin the work around, and we slip stitch in the second stitch of our last row. So just slip stitch in there, put your hook into the stitch, bring through a loop and take it straight through the loop on the hook, and then work 1 slip stitch into each of the next 2 stitches of row 14, and work 1 single crochet into each of the last 14 stitches. For row 16, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches. So we put our hook into the first stitch and bring up a loop, and hook into the next stitch and bring up a loop. There's 3 loops on the hook. We put the yarn around the hook and take the hook with the yarn at the end through all the loops. Then we work 1 single crochet into each of the next 10 stitches. And a joined single crochet over the following 2 stitches. We leave the rest of the stitches. For row 17, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the first 3 stitches. So we put our hook into the first stitch and bring up a loop, hook into the next stitch and bring up a loop, and then hook into the following stitch and bring up a loop. There's 4 loops on the hook. We put the yarn around the hook and take the hook with the yarn at the end through all the loops. Then we work 1 single crochet into each of the last 9 stitches. For row 18, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet into each of the first 8 stitches. And a joined single crochet over the last 2 stitches. Now we're starting on this tummy part, so we're going to join in the 105, the Bridal White, I just put a loop on my hook and just pull it through and pull it tight. We start with one chain and turn, and we're going to work over the orange. We work one single crochet into the first stitch, and then we're going to work one single crochet into that same stitch but only half. So bring through a loop of the Bridal White, then bring the Bridal White to this side because this is our wrong side, and then finish the stitch with your royal orange and just leave your Bridal White there and work one single crochet in each stitch to the end. We'll have 10 stitches altogether, so there should be 8 stitches. For row 20, we start with one chain and turn, work one single crochet into each of the first 6 stitches, and then put your hook into the next stitch and bring up a loop of orange and leave your orange at the back there and bring up your Bridal White and finish that stitch with the Bridal White. And then work one single crochet in each of the last 3 stitches with your Bridal White. For row 21, we start with one chain and turn and work one single crochet into each of the first 2 stitches, and then into our next stitch we bring up a loop of Bridal White and then bring the Bridal White to the front and finish the stitch with your orange, and then work one single crochet into each of the last 7 stitches with the orange. For row 22, we start with one chain and turn. We work one single crochet into each of the first 6 stitches, we start the next stitch with our royal orange, so we bring up a loop of royal orange and just leave the orange there and then finish the stitch with the Bridal White, and then work one single crochet into each of the last 3 stitches. For row 23, we start with one chain and turn. We work one single crochet in the first stitch, and then into the next stitch we bring up a loop of Bridal White and then bring our cotton to the front and finish the stitch with the royal orange, and then we work 1 single crochet into each of the last 8 stitches. Now just be a bit careful that you are working into the next stitch. It can be a bit tricky to find. For row 24, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet into each of the first 7 stitches. For the next stitch, we put our hook in and bring up a loop of orange and leave the orange at the back there and finish the stitch with the bridal white, and then work 1 single crochet into each of the last 2 stitches. For row 25, we start with 1 chain and turn. We bring up a loop of bridal white and then just bring the bridal white to the front and finish that stitch with the orange. And we work 1 single crochet into each of the last 9 stitches. Just be careful that you're working into the next stitch. It can be a bit tricky. Now we'll just be working with the orange, but I'm going to leave the bridal white attached because I'll be using it for the kneading row. For row 26, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet into each of the first 9 stitches. Into our last stitch, we work 2 single crochet and 1 half double crochet. We're going down the slope for the back leg now. For row 27, we start with 2 chain and turn. We work 1 half double crochet and 2 single crochet into the first stitch. So 1 half double crochet and 2 single crochet. Then we work 1 single crochet into each stitch until we've got 2 left. We'll work a joined single crochet over the last 2 stitches and there'll be 13 stitches. So after the first 3 stitches, work 1 single in the first stitch, work 1 single crochet in each stitch until there are 2 stitches left. And work a joined single crochet over the last 2 stitches. For row 28 we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet in each of the first 12 stitches, and work 2 single crochet and 1 half double crochet into the last stitch. And then we work 5 chain. That's for the back leg. For row 29 we work 1 single crochet in the second chain from the hook, 1 half double crochet into each of the next 2 chain, and 2 double crochet into the last chain. A double crochet is a treble using UK terms. For a double crochet we put the yarn around the hook, hook into the stitch and bring up a loop, yarn around the hook, and take the hook with the yarn at the end through 2 loops, yarn around the hook, hook with the yarn at the end through 2 loops. So we need another double crochet in the last chain, and then spin the work around and we'll be working along the last row. We work 1 double crochet into the first stitch, and 1 double crochet and 1 half double crochet into the next stitch. Then work 1 single crochet into each stitch to the last stitch. And work 2 single crochet into the last stitch. For row 30 we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet into each of the first 9 stitches, and join single crochet over the following 3 stitches. So put your hook into the next stitch and bring up a loop, hook into the following stitch and bring up a loop, and then hook into the next stitch and bring up a loop. There's 4 loops on the hook. Take the hook with the yarn at the end through all the loops. For row 31 we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a join single crochet over the first 2 stitches, and then 1 single crochet into each of the last 8 stitches. For row 32 we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches, 1 single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. And a joined single crochet over the last 2 stitches. For row 33 we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches and then 1 single crochet in each remaining stitch. For row 34 we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches, 1 single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, and a joined single crochet over the last 2 stitches. For row 35 we start with 1 chain and turn and work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches and a joined single crochet over the last 2 stitches. Now that's the tiger body done, except for the neatening row. For the neatening row, work 1 chain and turn. This is our right side. Now we're going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch, just down around here. I'll probably work 2 single crochet into that stitch, and then work your single crochets reasonably close down to the top of the leg. We're going to work our back leg onto 7 stitches down here, and our tail's going to go onto the back bit there. So we'll need probably 8 stitches at least down here. Once we get to the leg, we're just going to work a slip stitch around the leg. We don't want it to get any thicker. A slip stitch just doesn't give it as much bulk. So for a slip stitch, put your hook into the stitch, bring through a loop and take it straight through the loop on the hook. And try to hold your work in the shape you want it to go as you're working, so you don't pull it out of shape. Now once you get to the top of the leg, you can start working single crochets again, and when we get to the tummy part, we bring up a loop just a stitch before, bring up a loop of orange, and then leave your orange there and finish the stitch with the bridal white. And we can fasten off the orange for now and continue working 1 single crochet in each stitch with the bridal white, just across the tummy and down to the crease of this leg. So just down to here, work 1 single crochet. Like, I could work over my orange, but I thought it might show through, so I'd rather fasten it off. But I will work over the bridal white for a little bit, a bit further on. Now I'm to the crease in that back foot. I work 1 slip stitch in each stitch along to the end of the foot. Now I'm going to join back in the orange, so I'll put my hook down into that stitch and bring up a loop of orange, and I'll work 1 single crochet into that stitch, and then I'm going to work over the top of the bridal white, and I work 1 single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches on the bottom of the foot, and then 1 half double crochet into each of the following 2 stitches. And then 1 single crochet, probably into about 2 or 3 stitches. I'm at the curve of the front leg. I'm going to change to the bridal white now and fasten off the orange. I might just finish that last stitch with the bridal white just to make it look a bit better. So I'll bring up a loop of orange in the curve there and then finish it with the bridal white, and then I'll be using the bridal white for the rest. So I can fasten off the orange, work 1 slip stitch into each of the next 4 stitches. And then 1 single crochet in each stitch up until the white, the bridal white for the head. 1 single crochet in each stitch. and then work one slip stitch in the couple of stitches up to the mouth, and fasten off. And that's the tiger so far. I'll weave in these ends and I'll be back with the orange, and we'll work an neatening row just along the back. For the neatening of the back, just join in the stitch after the charcoal, just in the front there, and we work one chain to secure it, and just work one slip stitch in each stitch around the head. And once you're around the head, work one single crochet in each stitch down to the back, and join with a slip stitch in that first stitch of the neatening row. So just one single crochet in each stitch. So I'll work the rest of the neatening row off camera. I'll weave in the ends and I'll be back with the bridal white and we'll work this back leg. Now for this far back leg, we'll be using the 105, the bridal white, and we'll be working it on 7 stitches on the back, in the back loop only. So join at the top of the 7. I'll join in here in the back loop only. Now I'm leaving a long tail to work around the neatening row, so we've got not a great deal to work around, but it will depend on the weight yarn as to how much you'll need. I've got a couple of feet here. I'd rather have too much than too little. For row 1, we start with one chain. We work one single crochet into the same stitch as the join, and one single crochet into the back loop only of each of the next 6 stitches. For row 2, we start with one chain and turn. We work 2 single crochet into the first stitch, one single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, one half double crochet into each of the following 2 stitches, and a joined half double crochet over the last 2 stitches. For row 3, we start with 2 chain and turn. We work a joined half double crochet over the first 2 stitches, one half double crochet into the next stitch, one single crochet into each of the following 2 stitches, and a joined single crochet over the last 2 stitches. For row 4, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches. 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and a joined half double crochet over the last 2 stitches. For row 5, we start with 1 chain and turn, and work 1 single crochet into each of the 3 stitches. For row 6, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches, and 2 single crochet into the last stitch. For row 7, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 2 single crochet into the first stitch, and a joined single crochet over the last 2 stitches. For row 8, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and a joined half double crochet over the last 2 stitches. For row 9, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the 2 stitches. For row 10, we start with 1 chain and turn, and work 1 single crochet into the stitch. And for row 11, we start with 1 chain and turn, and work 1 single crochet into the stitch, and we fasten off. And that's the back leg done. For the neatening row, just bring up a loop of the tail we left, and we're just going to work 1 slip stitch in each stitch right around the leg and just into the last stitch on the row 1, just into that same place. Just try to keep your leg in the shape it is. So I'll just continue around the leg, and I'll weave in the end, and I'll be back with the bridal white and we'll work the tail. For this tail, we join the 105, the bridal white, just in about the first stitch of the neatening row. We're not going to neaten the tail, so we don't need to leave a tail at the beginning. We work 21 chain. We work 1 single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and then 1 half double crochet into each of the next 3 chain. We work 2 half double crochet into each of the following 3 chain. and then 1 half double crochet into each chain until there are 4 chain left. I've got 4 chain left. We work a joined half double crochet over the next 2 chain. And a joined double crochet over the last 2 chains. So we put the yarn around the hook, hook into the next chain and bring up a loop, yarn around the hook, take the hook with the yarn at the end through 2 loops, yarn around the hook, hook into the last chain and bring up a loop, yarn around the hook, take the hook with the yarn at the end through 2 loops. We've got 3 loops left. We put the yarn around the hook and take the hook with the yarn at the end through all the loops, and then we slip stitch into the last stitch and we fasten off. And that's the tail done. For the ear, I've got my 105, the Bridal White, and I make a magic loop. So I just put my hook on the yarn, bring the short end over the hook and the long end over the short end to make a circle. Yarn around the hook and bring my hook with the yarn at the end through the circle. And then I work 1 chain and 4 single crochet into the circle. I pull the circle tight and fasten off. I leave a bit of a longer tail to stitch it to the head. And that's the ear. When I weave in this end, I'll probably weave it together a little bit more like that. For the far front leg, I've got my 105, the Bridal White again, and we start with 6 chain. For row 1, we miss the first chain and work 1 single crochet in each of the last 5 chain. For row 2, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches and 1 single crochet in each of the last 3 stitches. For row 3, we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet in each of the first 2 stitches. We miss the rest of the stitches, that's for the foot part. For row 4, we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet into the first stitch and 2 single crochet into the last stitch. For row 5, we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet in each of the 3 stitches. For row 6 we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet in each of the first 2 stitches and 2 single crochet into the last stitch. For row 7 we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet in each of the 4 stitches. For row 8 we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 2 single crochet into the first stitch and 1 single crochet in each stitch to the end. For row 9 we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet in each of the 5 stitches. And for row 10 we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet in each stitch. And that's the leg unneatened. For the neatening row we start with 1 chain and we just work 1 slip stitch in each stitch around the leg. So I'll work the rest of this off camera. I'll weave in the ends and I'll be back and I'll show you how to put it together. Now there's the pieces. I've got the tiger, the front leg and the ear. The first thing I do is attach the front leg in there. Next we embroider on the black markings. I used a photo of a tiger to work out where my markings would go. I will have a picture of this tiger in the makeup on my website and I'll have a link for that so you can see where the markings are. So I'll embroider on the markings and I'll be back. Now there's the black markings on the tiger. The next thing I'll do is attach the ear. It just goes in there. I attach it with this tail and I'll also stitch on a bead for the eye, just in there. The last thing I do is embroider on the dark grey markings. I've got 2 rows down the back of the back leg and then little dashes along between the back leg and the body, a row down this back leg and then some little dashes over the edge of this leg and then the centre of the ear and just a few around the ear. So I'll embroider on those and I'll be back to show you the finished tiger. There's a finished tiger. I just added a white dot in the centre of the eye. The size is 19 centimetres wide by 9 centimetres or 7.5 inches wide by 3.5 inches. If you've liked my video, please like, subscribe and share. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest and Patreon. The details are in the description below, along with the details of my website where I have my patterns and the details of my Facebook group. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.